perfect tense, what it looks like, how to use it, and when to use it. Hello, I'm Emma from English. If you don't feel confident using the present perfect tense in English yet, there's probably a few reasons why. There's those nasty irregular verbs in past participle form. Or maybe you feel unsure about when to use the present perfect and when to use the past simple tenses. Even if you're quite good at using the present perfect tense in English, it's definitely worth reviewing this tense to jog your memory. That expression means to remind yourself. So are you ready to start? Grab a notepad and a pen and let's go over this beautiful tense right now so that you can feel more confident using it. Oh, and if you can think of a friend who needs to review this tense too, make sure you share this lesson with them. Click the share button just underneath this video. They'll thank you for it. First thing, the grammatical structure. What does it look like? Well, it looks like this. Subject, have or has, and your main verb in past participle form. So the subject, you already know this. You can use a proper noun or a pronoun. I, she, they. In the perfect tenses, the verb have is an auxiliary verb. It's a helping verb. It's not the main verb in the sentence. And that means that it's usually unstressed and often contracted when spoken. So she has becomes she's. I have becomes I've. But I'll talk more about that soon. But then comes the main verb. In the present perfect tense, the main verb is in past participle form, not in past simple form. Now, this is no problem for regular past tense verbs. For regular verbs, the past participle form is the same as the simple past. So you just need to add ed. Watch in the present tense becomes watched in past simple, and it's also watched in past participle form. Laugh becomes laughed and is also laughed. Dance, danced, danced. Call, cold, cold. And even some irregular verbs use the same verb for past simple as the past participle form. Have in the present tense becomes had in the simple past, and it's also had as a past participle. Easy, right? Win, won, won. But these really irregular verbs are the ones that cause all of the headaches, because there are 3 different forms that you need to remember. Go in the present tense becomes went in the past simple, and in the past participle form, it's been or gone. Some more examples. Fly, flew, flown. Throw, threw, thrown. Do, did, done. Become, became, become. Speak, spoke, spoken. I'm sure you can think of many more examples, but with these verbs, there's no pattern, there's no rule to follow. You just need to memorize the past participle form. But keep an eye out for my next video next week, which will help you to practice and memorize these past participle forms of irregular verbs. In fact, if you subscribe to this channel, click the red button here, then you'll find out as soon as it's ready. But to use the present perfect tense well, you may need to polish up on some useful irregular English verbs and remind yourself about their past participle form. But let's get back to the structure. You have the subject, you have or has, and our past participle verb. I have asked my parents to loan me some money. You have been really helpful today. They have flown to the capital to meet with the officials. He has saved enough money to buy a car. She has forgotten where her hotel is. Now, in this structure, often have and has are contracted to v and s. I've asked, you've been, they've flown, he's saved, she's forgotten. Got it?
Okay, just to stop here a bit, just to complement what she said, it's much better if you use the contracted form. Yeah, it's much better if you say, especially in spoken English. Actually, many British people and American people and other people from different countries who speak English, they tend to use more the contracted forms. Yeah, remember this is like an F. Yeah, I've asked, you've, the same, like an F. You've been really helpful today. They've flown to the capital to meet with official. He saved enough money. This is not the verb to be, this is has, but is the contracted form. He saved. Yeah, he saved. She's forgotten where her hotel is. Yeah, so the more that you use, the much better. Remember, I've, you've, they've, he's, she's. We've been to Canada twice. No, we've been to Canada. If I say a sentence like that, it's been a year. It's been a year. Yeah, it's had twice, 2 times. No, this, etc. So the more you use, the more natural when you are using present perfect. Okay, let's continue watch.
Got it? Good. So when should you use the present perfect tense? Well, when there is a connection between the present and the past. Think of it like a bridge that's connecting the present and the past. For example, when something started in the past and continues in the present. They've been married for 3 years. You can use it to talk about an activity that you've done several times in the past and that you continue to do now. She has read many books and she'll probably read more.
Monica, I just sent you the email with the client
I'm looking at the
notes.
doc now, but I think it's an older version. Can you send an updated?
Monica, check your messages when you can.
You can also use the present perfect to talk about life experience. He hasn't traveled overseas before. Now, before I give you some more examples, let's talk about when to use the past simple tense and the present perfect tense, because this is often the confusing part about this tense. To answer this question, you need to think about time. Finished time and unfinished time. So think about last week. That's a good example of finished time. Last week is finished, it's over. But what about this week? Is this week finished? No, not yet. That's an example of unfinished time. There's still more of this week to come. It's not finished yet. Yesterday, last week, last month, last year, 1991, these are all examples of finished time, time that is complete. When you're talking about a time period that has finished, like these, you need to use the past simple. But when you're talking about a time period that is unfinished, like today, this week, this year, this month, use the present perfect tense. So let's compare some examples. Last month, I visited my brother 3 times. This month, I have visited my brother twice. But the month isn't finished yet and I may visit him again. Try an example with me. He borrowed my car yesterday. So this sentence is in the past simple. It's finished time. Now try to change it to the present perfect yourself. What do you need to do? 2 things. You need to add the auxiliary verb. He has, not have. It changes because our subject is he. He has borrowed my car today or this week. We need to change the time expression too for our sentence to work in the present perfect tense. It must be unfinished time. Okay, so those were all examples of the present perfect in positive sentences. But what about negative forms? Of course, we need to add not to our sentence, to our structure. Subject plus have or has plus not, and then our past participle verb. So compare these sentences. Last month, I visited my brother 3 times. This month, I haven't visited him at all. But the month isn't over yet. I may still visit him. Again, see that this structure is usually contracted in spoken English. Haven't. This is the most common way to contract the negative form, but you may also hear people say, I've not visited him. Both ways are acceptable, but you can't contract all 3 words together. I'ven't. You can't do that. It's one contraction or the other. Another example. He ate so much yesterday. Notice the time word that we're using. So in present perfect, negative, we can say he hasn't eaten a lot today. But there's still more day, so he could eat more food. One more example. They were at school yesterday. In the present perfect, they haven't been at school all morning. But the day's not finished yet and they may arrive in the afternoon. Of course, you need to ask present perfect questions too, right? As with all English question forms, our auxiliary verb needs to change position. So we have and has, our subject and our past participle verb. Has he cleaned the bathroom? Have you eaten enough? Has it rained today? Have they finished yet? Now compare these 2 questions. Did you go to Thailand last year? This is a past simple question, so the auxiliary verb do takes the tense. It becomes did. But now compare it to have you been to Thailand?
Yeah, in this case, it's more specific. The first one in past simple, of course. Did you go? Because we have last week. And talking about experiences, yeah, experiences. We don't know. And we are wondering, no? we want to make this question to our friend, the person, no, we meet for the first time, then you use present perfect. Have you been? And as you can see, there is no time expression here. Yeah, no another time expression. So that's why have you been? That's the difference between this sentence, no? These two sentences. The difference is we have the time expression and the other is omitted.
Teacher,
Yes.
entonces, ¿cuál sería el significado de have you been to Thailand en español?
We don't use it.
At
It's
any
wait. We don't use it much in Spanish, but the translation would be has estado, has viajado, has ido también puede ser. Has ido a Tailandia. El otro sería fuiste, ¿no? Normalmente usamos pasado simple in Spanish. I think Spanish people, people from Spain, they use more the present perfect, ¿no? Ellos sí usan más el presente perfecto. Nosotros casi no. Usamos más el fuiste, pero es común, ¿no? Nada más que hay que acordarnos, recuerden, experiencias, cosas que han hecho recientemente, present perfect, ¿no? Y cosas que ya terminaron, que fueron en el pasado, last week, last year, two days ago, 2 minutes ago, entonces ese es pasado simple. Okay, we'll continue.
time in the past, it's your life experience. But of course, you're still alive, so you may go in the future. The difference is the time reference. There is a lot to think about when using the present perfect tense, right? But I hope that this lesson made everything a little easier, especially the basics. If you're clear on the basics, it's a good thing. Make sure that you're subscribed to the English channel because the next few lessons that I make will help you to practice using the present perfect tense. You don't want to miss them. Just
Okay, she's got a video about the verbs. If you're interested in watch it, I could share it with you. She practices irregular verbs, and remember that they are very important because basically, have you learned them? Have you memorized them? Well, you have this week, this whole week coming for learning and memorizing the irregular verbs. Otherwise, you won't pass the exam. Yeah. Because we use, well, in present perfect, we use this structure, no? Remember, have, has, hasn't, or haven't, or in question, have you, has she, has they, have they, plus the past participle of the verbs, no? They are quite interesting. There are other videos if you are interested, I could share it. No, this is the video on the present perfect in English structuring sentences, so it is easier for you. Yeah, this is other girl. I don't really watch this girl, but she's good. No, she's presenting in Spanish. No, anyways, okay, guys. So we focus on our book. Yes. That was the grammar explanation that this teacher, this Australian teacher gave us, a very amazing teacher. I wish I was like her. So complete expressions with for or since. Remember, for and since are the typical prepositions for present perfect. Yeah, present perfect, no? Here it is what? What do you think? For half an hour or since half an hour?
For.
Yeah, for it's used for this, for half an hour, for 1 hour, etc. We have a specific year here, 2001, for or since. Yes.
Since.
Since. Actually, it sounds much better since, no, rather than for. For I was 14 or since I was 14, which sounds better?
Since.
Since, exactly. Since I was 14, since I was 10, etc. What about the next? For a long time or since a long time?
For.
For a long time. Then we have a specific time, since 10 o'clock. Number 6.
For.
For 3 months. Number 7. Since October, yes, correct, for months. Last Tuesday, since last Tuesday.
Since.
Yeah. Then for 2 weeks. Yeah, we're not doing this. We're gonna take advantage of these questions, yeah, and answers. So listen and check.
6.5. Questions and answers. Where do you live, Vicky?
In a flat near the town centre. It's nice because it's got a balcony.
How long have you lived there?
Yeah, if you notice the second question, how long have you lived there? No, because she started living in the past, obviously, and she continues. No, she continues living there. So that's why the answer is how long have you? The question should be how long have you lived there?
For 3 years, but it feels like I've been there longer.
So why did you move there?
Because I wanted to walk to work.
Yeah, in that case, why did you move there? It's it happened one time, no? Pasó una vez. It happened one time, and that's why it's past simple, no? Why did you move there? Okay.
I hated the commute from my last place.
And what do you do?
I work for a pharmaceutical firm. I'm in the marketing department.
Ah. How long have you worked there?
Since 2015. It's a really good company to work for.
So what did you do before that?
I was a student in Edinburgh. I studied chemistry and biology.
So that's the difference between past simple and present perfect. Past simple happened one time and it is a completed action or happened in a certain point in the past, no? That's why. All right. We go on, we move on to the next activity. Yeah, we are going to read a bit about Frida. Listen to Frida Hoffman, no? She is an archaeologist and a writer. Then we have present perfect, always, ever, never. Ever, never, since, and for are the typical prepositions, words with present perfect, no? Look at the photos of the archaeologist Frida Hoffman. Yeah, what's her nationality? What's her nationality? Where does she come from?
From Germany?
Yes, she comes from Germany, exactly. Which countries has she been to? Which countries has she been to?
South Africa, Kenya, Egypt,
China.
China.
Yes,
Egypt.
exactly. We can say she's been to, no, because those are experiences that she's had, no, she has had. She's been to South Africa, she's been to Kenya, she's been to Egypt, etc. No, so we can. And what are her passions? What are her passions? She's got two passions. Hello. What are her passions?
History, ancient history.
Ancient history and the other passion?
She's
Archaeology.
Yeah, archaeologists and
writing.
writing books. Yeah, writing books. Thank you very much. Okay. Read the interview with Frida and write the questions in the correct line. Here are the lines, that missing lines, the lines that you have to put it. Have you always been interested in? When did you first travel abroad? Travel, viajar abroad in other country, no? In other country. ¿Cuándo viajaste al extranjero? Why did you move there? Have you ever made an important discovery? How many times have you been to Egypt? Which countries have you been to? How many books have you written? Have you ever been in any dangerous situation? How did you travel? No, as you can see, here is the text, well, the interview, and which countries have you been to? So I would like you to do this activity. Yeah. I'll let you 3 minutes to choose one of these. To choose one of these and try to put it in the correct, well, according to the context, try to put it there. Hopefully you can see, because I cannot zoom properly. I'll play the listening in a moment. So you've got 3 minutes and then I'll play the listening so you can check your answers, okay?
Part 1.
Frida Hoffmann grew up in Germany, but has lived most of her life abroad. Her passion is ancient history, and she has written several books about ancient Egypt. Frida, you've travelled a lot in your lifetime. Which countries have you been to?
Well, I've been to a lot of countries in Africa, and I've been to China and Nepal. I've never been to South America, but I'm planning a trip there soon.
When did you first travel abroad?
When I was 6, my family moved to England.
Why did you move there?
Because my father got a job as professor of history at Cambridge University.
Have you always been interested in archaeology?
Yes, I have. When I was 10, there was an exhibition about Tutankhamun, the Egyptian king, in London. My father took me to see it, and I was fascinated. After that, I knew I wanted to be an archaeologist and work in Egypt.
How many times have you been to Egypt?
Oh, I've been there 30 times at least. I go as often as I can.
Have you ever made an important discovery?
Yes, I've made some very important discoveries, including some important ancient tombs near Cairo.
And you've written books about Egypt too, haven't you? How many books have you written?
I've written 3 about the pharaohs, and I've written a book about a journey I made from Cairo to Cape Town.
How did you travel? By train or by car?
By Land Rover, of course.
Yes. And in all your travels, have you ever been in any dangerous situations?
Oh, my goodness, yes. I've often been in danger, but I've learned to look after myself.
Okay, it was easy peasy, right? So let's check the answers here. After which countries have you been to? Number 2, it's what?
When did you first travel abroad?
Yeah, when did you first travel abroad? When I was 6. My family moved to England. Yes, when did you first travel abroad? That's the correct answer. Because if the answer is because, so the question should be
Why?
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 Why what?
Why?
Why did you move there?
Why did you move?
Yeah. Yeah, what did you move there? Because blah, blah, blah. Yeah, my father got a job. Number 4, in archaeology, yes, I have.
Have you always been interested in archaeology?
Yes, exactly. Have you always been interested in archaeology? Yes, I have. No. Oh, I've been there 30 times at least. Number 5.
How many times have you been to Egypt?
Yes, exactly. How many times have you been to Egypt? Yes, I have some very important discoveries. So they are the questions.
Have you ever made any important discovery?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. And next, you've written books about Egypt. Have you? I've written 3.
How many books
How
have
many
you
books
read?
have you read?
Have you written? Pronunciation, written. Thank you. I've written 3. By train or by car?
How did you travel?
How did you travel? And finally, oh yes, in all your travels, oh my goodness, yes, I often been in danger. So the answer,
Have you ever been in any dangerous situation?
have you ever been in dangerous situation? Here are the answers again. Number 2, how many times? Number 3, have you ever made important discoveries? How many books have you written? How did you travel? And have you ever written any in any dangerous situation? Okay, so you see, easy peasy, easy peasy, as you have here. It says work with a partner and make the questions to Frida, ¿no? To Frida. Ya está hecha la primera. Which countries has she been to? Yeah. Which countries has she been to? Yeah, she's been to Egypt, South Africa, Algeria, Kenya, and China. Here in third person, las preguntas siempre van a estar aquí en tercera persona. Aquí recuerden que es como una interview, como si nosotros fuéramos Frida Hoffman, ¿no? Pero aquí es en tercera persona. Number 2 quedaría entonces has. No todas son con present perfect, unas pueden ser con el pasado simple. ¿Ya? Has she ever, ¿qué sería? Nos falta el verbo aquí importante. Has she ever been to South Africa? This is